Shabbos tekablo.
Hello everyone. Today we are going to turn our backs on what we've been saying until now and turn the question around. Is there such a thing as honoring the congregation at the expense of honoring the Sefer Torah? And I'll explain what I mean. Tosefta in Masechet Megillah, in the 3rd chapter, subdivision Yudal, it said, Ketzad hayu zkenim yoshvim, how would the rabbis sit in shul? Pneihem klapei ha'am, va'achoreihem klapei ha'kodesh. In other words, they would sit facing the congregation facing them and facing the ark as they should, but they would be facing the congregation with their backs to the ark, no more and no less. And this is the way the Rambam paskins verbatim in Hilchos Tefillah, Perek Yud Aleph, Halacha Daled. He says explicitly, Pneihem klapei ha'am, va'achoreihem klapei ha'eichal, v'chol ha'am klapei ha'kodesh, v'klapei ha'skenim, v'klapei ha'teva. Everyone would sit facing forward, facing the ark, the rabbis, but the rabbis themselves would sit with their chairs swiveled around, facing the people with their backs to the Aron. Now I want to be clear, both the Tosefta and the Rambam say they weren't sitting on the side of the ark. They were sitting in front of the ark with their backs to the ark, to the Heichal. Well, the question is this permitted? The Beit Yosef, Rav Yosef Karo, the percussor to the Shulchan Aruch, says yes, because mipnei kfod hatzibur. In other words, to honor the congregation, to show them respect that they came to shul, that they're davening together as a minyan, you can put your back to the Aron, maybe because of all the reasons we said, in order to honor the congregation. But when the Ramah paskins this halacha, he starts, as does the Rambam, haskenim yoshvim pneihem klapei ha'am, that indeed they face the congregation. Vishara'am, meaning the people are sitting in the pews, yoshvim shurot pneihem klapei kodesh v'pnei haskenim, and they're facing the Aron Kodesh as well as the rabbis. But he doesn't say exactly where they sit. Do they sit in front of the ark? Do they sit on the side of the ark? Well, simply, maybe he left it out. Maybe they sat in front of the ark, like the Rambam said, and like the Beit Yosef said, Nikvod HaTzibur. But the Levush disagrees. The Levush says, absolutely not. He comes along and posits, Yizaharu shelo yasu shum makom leishev alav, ben habima shebe'emtza Beit HaKnesset uven ha'eichal. In between the bima in the middle of the shul and the Aron, there should be no seats. You shouldn't put your back to the bima, and therefore, you should put no seats between bima and front of the shul where the Aron Kodesh is. So there shouldn't be a situation that you are sitting in such a way that your back is to the Heichal. And therefore, he says, not only is this the way it should be, it's a gnai v'isur. And not only that, but he adds, ve'od, kedei shelo yafsik ben ha-mevarech al sefer Torah ben ha-Heichal. Imagine if you're sitting in front of the bima, a guy gets an aliyah, he says Baruch Hu et Hashem Avarach, bowing, and who is he bowing to? The people in front of him. So therefore says the Levush, no dice. Between ark and bima, nothing. Because we don't want a person to be even looking like bowing down to the people. So obviously in the Levush's shul, the rabbis didn't sit in front facing the people. And obviously in the Levush's shul, nobody sat in front. Bima was in the middle. Maybe people sat on the sides like in Sephardic shuls, but no one sat between Bima and Aron Kodesh. And indeed, maybe in the words of the Ramah, he can fit it in, because even though the Ramah says that the Skenim Yoshvim Pnehem Klapei Ha'am, maybe it doesn't mean the front of the shul. Maybe they sat on the right side, and the people sat on the left side, but no one sat with their backs to the ark. Not sure. At the end of the day, this has a very important nafkamina, and that is, what do we do every Friday night? At Booy Beshalom, in most shuls, you turn around, you face the door as you should, and your backs are to the Aron. you're doing something terrible, because you're basically going ahead and you're bowing away from the ark. You're bowing in the opposite direction. So the one that asked this question was none other than Rav Azriel Hildesheimer. Rav Azriel Hildesheimer, in his responsum, quotes Rav Yecheskel Benet, who says that at the end of the day, when we go ahead and we turn around for Boi Kala, it's a big problem, because you're bowing in the opposite direction. But he says, you know what? As long as you're not bowing to a human being, you're not violating the Levush. The Levush says you're bowing to human beings that are sitting between Bima and Ark. In this case, everyone is facing the other direction, and therefore everyone is actually bowing at the right time to the right place. No one's bowing to human beings. And indeed, in his responsum to Rav Yecheskel Benet, Rav Azriel Hildesheimer says that, I will add to your words that since the custom is to bow in all four directions, I haven't seen that at Boi Bekala, but I've seen people bow in two directions. He says, since you bow in four directions, for sure you're not bowing to a human being in any which way, shape, or form. To sum up, it seems like, according to some, it's the honor to the congregation that you face them, and therefore, even at the expense of putting your back to the Aron. I'll add that if that's the case, maybe in honor of Shabbos, it's an honor of Shabbos to bow towards the Shabbos coming in through the door or through the west, even if it means putting your back to the ark. The Levush disagrees. He says, first of all, no one should sit there in the first place, and number two, it's a big problem to bow to human beings. And from this perspective, Rav Yecheskel Benet, together with Rav Azriel Hildesheimer, had to come along and say, when we bow at Boi V'Shalom, since we bow all to one direction, no one's bowing to a human being. And more than that, since we bow in all four directions in the shul of Rav Azriel Hildesheimer, then you're not bowing to a human being. To sum up, does the honor of the congregation override the honor of the ark? Something to think about. Machlokas, it seems, between the Beit Yosef and the Levush. Definitely shows how much we honor the ark, but definitely shows as well how much we honor the people that actually fulfill what's in the ark, the Jewish people.
Kaskavallu Tittiridain laira de rambama Hai laila Tittiridain laira de rambama Hai laila Benai shab